Chapter 79. Attack. Qingshan City, as the first city between Tianmu Prefecture and Wuning Prefecture, has an astonishing amount of human traffic and prosperity. Xiao Yan and the others walked for nearly half a day before dragging their somewhat tired bodies into Green Mountain City. The bustling scene that greeted their faces caused them to be stunned for a moment. Haha, don't look at the name Green Mountain City, but its prosperity isn't any weaker than West Star City's. Suo Quan couldn't help but speak when he saw the shocked expressions on their faces. Zhou Yuan, who was walking in front of Xiao Yan, wiped the sweat on his forehead and said softly. He muttered, "That old man is really talkative." In less than half a day's journey, Suo Quan started to talk about the interesting stories of Wuning Prefecture. Some people, such as Xiao Yan, were very interested in hearing it, but it was torture for someone like Zhou Yuan who had something on his mind. Hearing Zhou Yuan's muttering, Xiao Yan smiled noncommittally. Along the way, Suo Quan had been talking nonsense from all over the world, which made him understand a lot of things. After entering the city, everyone followed Suo Quan's arrangement and moved into an extremely luxurious restaurant. Xiao Yan and the other 20 people were arranged to stay in 4 big rooms. Everyone knew that this was to supervise each other. Zhou Yuan and Xiao Yan were also assigned to supervise each other. There was also Wu Sen, Liu Kai, and a short-haired young man who had just spoken. Everyone, have a good rest. We will depart tomorrow morning. We will be relying on you all at that time. After saying that, Suo Quan led the 4 guards into his room. After rushing for half a day, everyone was a little tired, so after saying a few words, some of them went to eat, and some went to cultivate. Zhou Yuan pulled Xiao Yan to the restaurant and ordered some food. As they ate, they looked at the different streets outside the window and chatted with each other. After some customers left, Zhou Yuan lowered his voice. He dipped his finger into some wine and started to draw on the table. I have done my research. If the convoy leaves from the south gate of Green Mountain City, it is possible to directly enter Green Mountain City. After about 10 days of travel, it is possible to cross the Green Mountain and reach the boundary of the next city. If they leave from the west gate, they will follow the trail of Qingshan Mountain. The possibility of this path should be higher, because there will be pedestrians passing by on this path. Some bandits basically won't stop and rob here. Zhou Yuan's thinking was very flexible. With a few simple words, he helped Xiao Yan understand the situation. But it will take close to 20 days to walk on this path. I can't guarantee that Suo Quan will take this path for a certain safety, so we need to prepare 2 things. When Xiao Yan and Zhou Yuan returned to their room, Liu Kai was standing by the window, quietly looking out the window. When he heard the 2 of them return, he greeted them and went back to his room. This guy is not simple. He has been bitterly cultivating by himself, and his strength is quite strong. Zhou Yuan looked at Liu Kai's room and couldn't help but praise. Xiao Yan's eyes swept across the window. In a trance, he seemed to see a flash of light. However, under the bright street view of Green Mountain City, it was so unnoticeable. The next morning, the originally clear sky suddenly turned gloomy. Dark clouds rolled in the sky, and a cold wind blew against his face. It was as if dark clouds were pressing down on the city. Look at the sky. It's raining heavily. Suo Quan, who had just walked out of the restaurant, raised his head and looked at the sky. After pondering for a moment, he turned around and returned to his room with the 4 guards. After Xiao Yan and the others waited for a while, Suo Quan and the 4 guards walked out with their bodies covered in black robes. The black robes looked bloated, completely covering their bodies. Suo Quan, whose face was mostly covered by the black robe, waved his hand and walked out without saying a word. Everyone was speechless when they saw this, but none of them said a word and went back to their own business. A moment later, Xiao Yan and the others protected the motorcade. Under Suo Quan's command, they walked towards the south gate. You want to cross Mount Daqing. It seems like I have underestimated Suo Quan's courage. Along the way, a few people must have died. Zhou Yuan walked next to Xiao Yan and said with a cold smile. Xiao Yan didn't say anything. He looked at Suo Quan, who was protected by 4 guards in the middle, and muttered in his heart. Initially, he wanted to hear some interesting stories about the big world from this guy. Why didn't he say anything? It seemed like he was also concentrating on preparing for the upcoming crisis. Rumble. As expected, before noon, Deafening thunder rumbled in the sky, like the roar of a thunder dragon. The sky was immediately covered in dark clouds, and soon after, heavy rain poured down. Suo Quan did not prepare rain equipment for everyone, so they naturally would not be foolish enough to ask for it. Immediately, they released their auras, forming a layer of light barrier around their bodies, isolating the heavy rain from the outside. At this time, everyone had already left Green Mountain City and was about to enter the thousands of miles of Green Mountain when they suddenly encountered a heavy rain. Although they were fine, the two spirit beasts that were pulling the oar were screaming, and they refused to take a step forward no matter how hard the two guards whipped them. Xiao Yan looked forward. Countless ancient trees were rustling under the strong wind, making his skin turn cold. The continuous heavy rain completely covered his sight. He could not see anything clearly from a few meters away. If he continued to travel in this kind of weather, the consequences of encountering the devil beast's attack would be unimaginable. Suo Quan raised his head and looked ahead. He had a brief discussion with the four guards. After that, he nodded, and then a nurse by the name of Luo Ben beside him said in a deep voice, "Lord Suo has ordered. I hope that all of you can show your might and excavate a place to avoid the rain on the mountain wall." Ah! When they heard this, everyone was stunned. Then, a bald-headed middle-aged man with a fiery temper shouted, "What? What do you take us for to create a shelter for so many people on the mountain wall? Emperor? Or a monarch emperor?" Luo Ben said coldly, "Among all of you, there must be someone who has a spirit weapon in his hand. He used the spirit weapon to create a cave. I think it won't be a problem for me to rely on all of your sovereign master's strength." Just as the middle-aged man was about to curse, a bright light flashed in Zhou Yuan's hand. A crystal-clear bone sword appeared in his hand. Zhou Yuan smiled and said, "Master Suo, even I couldn't bear to use my spirit weapon. Now, I want to use it to create a shelter from the rain. Tell me, how will you compensate me?" "Hee hee." Suo Quan laughed with a hoarse voice, "Everyone, don't blame me. There were some problems with my cultivation last night, and my voice was a little uncomfortable. Brother Zhou was so generous, so naturally he would make up for it. When the time comes, I will definitely do my best to request the Princess of Deyong County to give Brother Zhou a mid-grade spirit weapon." Mid-tier spirit weapon. When they heard Suo Quan's words, everyone was shocked. That item was worth at least $1 million in the auction house. Haha, good. Zhou Yuan laughed loudly, but Xiao Yan, who was standing beside him, could clearly see a trace of ridicule in the former's eyes. As soon as he finished speaking, the bone sword in Zhou Yuan's hand whistled out and aimed at the mountain wall not far away. It carried a ghostly white spiritual light and rushed towards the mountain wall like a meteor chasing after the moon. Bang! The sky full of dust was extinguished by the heavy rain before it could fly up. When the dust scattered, a large hole that could accommodate 2 to 3 people appeared in front of everyone. Seeing what Zhou Yuan did, some of the people who possessed spirit weapons also took out their spirit weapons and bombarded the mountain wall. Xiao Yan stood among the crowd and looked at the 3 or 4 spirit weapons competing for their spirit weapons. He could not help but shake his head helplessly. After thinking for a while, he still didn't take out the blue flame rulers. Even he didn't know what was going on with his blue flame rulers. If 3,000 lightning monarch flames suddenly appeared when he was using them, and someone saw them, he would be looking for trouble. Very quickly, under the combined efforts of these few people, a cave that could accommodate 20 people was formed. Zhou Yuan put away the bone sword and exhaled. He looked at Xiao Yan and said softly, "Mr. Xiao, don't worry, when we will succeed. You can pick any spirit weapon Suo Quan wants. There will definitely be one that you can use." Xiao Yan also smiled and did not say anything. After everyone entered the cave, their protective light shields were removed one after another. Although this thing was ordinary, it still consumed Origin Monarch Ki. In this dangerous mountain forest, the more Origin Monarch Ki one had, the safer it would be. The rain outside was getting heavier and heavier. Soon, the roars of some devil beasts could not be heard. Only the sound of heavy rain could be heard. Everyone stayed in the cave and had nothing to do. They gathered in 2s and 3s and chatted. Some people wanted to get close to Suo Quan, but they were all mercilessly rejected by the 4 guards. Xiao Yan, who was resting with his eyes closed, suddenly had a thought. Soul energy flowed out from between his eyebrows. In the next moment, Xiao Yan slowly opened his eyes. Facing Zhou Yuan's puzzled eyes, Xiao Yan grinned and said, "It's here." Outside the cave, in the pouring rain, a group of figures dressed in black tight clothes slowly appeared. Chapter end. Hi guys, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.